So I wanted to make another video on Final Fantasy 15. I know I've done that quite a bit already, but I just wanted to talk about another one of the features that they have announced for the game, or well, for the combat system at least in the game, and that is they decided to incorporate a stealth battle system and also an aerial style system as well. So from what I've seen, the stealth battle system seems to be you can take cover behind various objects. You know, you're trying to avoid groups of enemies. I presume they're going to be particularly quite hard to deal with, and I'm guessing, this is just obviously I don't know, that a lot of the missions, or some of the key missions at least in Final Fantasy 15 will be determined this way, as in having to be able to sneak through a base of enemies in order to be able to, I don't know, maybe rescue someone and then do an escort mission, because, you know, Final Fantasy is now Final Assassin's Metal Gear Creed, and Fantasy, obviously, at the end. And it just seems like they're continually diluting down the Final Fantasy franchise, the name, and everything else. It's more trying to appeal to what other games are doing well. So, obviously, Metal Gear Solid has done quite well, Assassin's Creed has done quite well, and they seem to take more and more inspiration from these sort of games rather than coming up with their own ideas, innovating in the way that Final Fantasy and Square Enix have always done, or always seem to have done, and just really sort of keeping it very much a Final Fantasy game rather than implementing all of these different things. And I, as a fan, and I'm sure some people out there as well, also aren't massively keen on having a stealth style system in there. To be honest, it doesn't really seem to fit with, I don't know, the Final Fantasy universe, franchise, the battle system in fact at all. I mean, obviously, yes, we've had preemptive strikes before, and, you know, those sort of things. I guess if you wanted to be, I don't know, really pedantic, you would say, well, isn't that a sort of stealth mechanic? Because you're getting a shot on the enemy from behind, and, well, yeah, I guess, in a much more diluted fashion. But for me, it's just sad to see that this is the way that Square Enix has taken Final Fantasy. It's something that, I don't know, it really displeases me massively that they're having all these different implementations into the how the battle is taking place. Obviously, you can look at Final Fantasy X and say there were other battles in there where, you know, you had to move between spaces, you were fighting in midair on airships, that sort of thing. But to be honest, it's not the same. It's not the same as what they're trying to implement here in 15. It's almost like they want to have, like I mentioned before, it's going to have more than one battle system. Is this, well, obviously it's not, but this could be portrayed as one of those things that it's got. And then to say, yeah, the battle system is very action orientated, but then there's also this stealth mechanic, there's also this aerial combat mechanic as well in the game. And, well, I don't know. It's up to you guys to decide what you think about it. Obviously, it's going to come out. I'm still going to play it. I'm still going to give my analysis on it, and, you know, let you guys know what I think. It might turn out to be useful as long as they don't, like I say, overuse it. As long as we don't get, like I was saying, escort missions, you know, that sort of thing. It's a shame that they dilute the Final Fantasy franchise so much, and that new and original ideas coming from Square Enix themselves don't seem to be forthcoming as much as if you look at what the current trend is at the time, you know, with Final Fantasy 13 when that came out, and now with Final Fantasy 15, they have taken a load of inspiration from the games that are selling really well. It's like I've said before, and I probably will say many, many more times again. They did an interview with Square Enix after Skyrim came out, after the success of Skyrim, and basically what Square Enix were saying is they wanted to go more down the Skyrim Western RPG route to make the game more mainstream. You know, obviously they're thinking about more accessible to people who have played those sort of games. They're already going to be familiar with that style. But for me, it just seems like they're picking up on the latest trend and seeing if they can cash in on it as well. Cynical, I know, but like I say, that's just my thought on it. But obviously, the whole Skyrim thing, that was linked to Final Fantasy 13.3, but what I'm saying is that that's an example of when they take the market trends, what's doing well, what people are enjoying, and try and implement that in the game. Some of you will think that's a good thing, you know, because they're trying to cater to all types. Which, yeah, okay, I agree on that. But for me, as a purist, I would say that in inverted commas, because that's why I get called quite a lot, believe it or not. Which I guess, well, I'm quite happy with that, really. It's not it's no detriment on my, on how I view Final Fantasy at all. But having said all that, hopefully if you've got any other opinions, leave them down in the comments below. I will read them. Obviously, I'll try and get back to you. But one thing I would say is, because I know people do get quite heated about this sort of thing, especially through some of the groups I'm a part of on Facebook, you know, they get very, very, very defensive whenever you say anything about 13 that's negative, and other people will about other games as well. You know, I feel a bit disgruntled if people say, oh, I don't really get Final Fantasy 9 or why it exists or why this certain thing is in there, but that's a video for another day. But all I'm saying is, if you do have a different opinion, that's great. I want to hear it, and just put it in the comments, but, you know, perhaps try and portray it in a more sophisticated manner than just, oh, you're stupid, you do not like Final Fantasy 15, you should not enjoy the series anymore, you should leave it alone. You know, actually some combative, constructive criticism against the points that I've made in this video would be great.